This is Fatsia japonica, Japanese Aralia, and it is an evergreen shrub, very large shrub. I would say at least in Northern California. This shot is taken in Berkeley. The plant is easily 8 to 10 feet tall and another 8 to 10 feet wide depending on where you put this. On the other hand, here's one under a stairwell where they're keeping it probably 5 feet wide and 4 feet tall. So if you're going to keep it in a tight place like this, you're going to be pruning it once a year pretty heavily to control it, and it's really not what it was meant to do. That kind of brings up the exposure. Now this one is in full shade underneath the overhang of a commercial building. This is just showing what the wood looks like. And this one here is in full sun in Berkeley, California. And so you see the lighter colored foliage and also the larger size. So if you're near the coast and you have a mild climate like Berkeley, you can put this in full sun. But if you're in an inland valley like we are, where the temperatures range over 80 degrees during the summer, you would want to give this some protection from the afternoon sun. Otherwise this will burn. I've seen people try that and these burn up pretty well. So I'd say morning sun, afternoon shade is what you would want in hotter areas with this plant. So in design, it's really all about the foliage texture. You have this large palmate leaf, and it's generally 10 to 12 inches across. Can be a little smaller or larger than that depending on its environment, but that's kind of the size of it, and it's just very distinctive. It does have an inconspicuous flower that turns into a berry head. I don't find it attractive, and I cut those off when I have those show up, but you know, just to be aware of that, but not really a reason to be using the plant. And there's not a lot to tell you about this. It seems to be tolerant of a number of different soil types, and again, it's mostly for its foliage. So when we're designing with texture, this is one of the better plants to use for that effect. I would also say stylistically this is great for kind of tropical effects where there's a lot of foliage mass and you're using textures primarily as opposed to color. This is a really good background plant for that type of effect, and I've seen palm trees growing right out of the middle of this plant, and it's a really great look. So think of that in terms of design possibilities with this plant. And in terms of drought tolerance, no, this is not drought tolerant. When you get big leaves like this, they transpire a lot of moisture, so you're going to want regular water, and also tend to be fairly fertile soils. Rich in humus is ideal, but I've grown these in some lousy soil, so they're not too particular in that regard. So, and then in terms of deer, I'm not sure about this with deer, honestly. I don't believe I've used it in a deer area before, so I can't speak to that. A note about cold hardiness. We have this in our area. We have gotten down, the extremes are the high teens in the Fahrenheit, and these do survive that. So I'm not sure how much lower it goes than that, but I'd say 20 degrees Fahrenheit is safe but not ideal, and it can certainly take up to the hundreds in terms of the high temperature. And that is Fatsia japonica.